Hi, this is number 16 in the series of podcasts. I'm Phil Greenwood, University of Wisconsin, Madison School of Business. And what I want to talk about in this brief section is the concept of building your business case. What we mean by building your business case is really when trying to make a decision or to convince people of a decision, especially something of a large investment with risks and a lot of potential rewards. It's really important to have the ability to sell the case. In other words, what can we do to help uh, convince others that it's an important situation, it's an important decision, and that they should take the course of action that we recommend. And in selling the case, what you're really doing is you're trying to articulate both qualitative costs and benefits and quantitative costs and benefits. Of course, when we talk about qualitative cost benefits, some people also call those soft costs or benefits. They're usually going to be items that we can't really quantify or may not have a big dollar amount impact or just are difficult to explain, but yet still important. For instance, making an investment in a new product that maybe it's not going to create that much sales, but it'll help your image. Well, we don't really know what the impact on the image will be or what it might do for employee morale or things of that nature. We don't know exactly what the long-term benefits will be from a dollars and cents standpoint, but yet we know that it's still important. The quantitative cost and benefits are, of course, much more, I wouldn't say easier, but at least appear more objective to be able to sell because they've got numbers with them, assumptions with them, forecasts that we have some pretty good detail to support what we think is going to happen. So it seems like it gives a little more meat to a building your business case scenario. I always talk about when trying to convince somebody that your case is important, especially the qualitative side, is to discuss how your potential investment decision, for instance, maybe buying another company or developing a new product or hiring a bunch of new employees, how that fits in with your organization's mission, vision, and its long-term goals. Because in addition to meeting favorable, numeric criteria, benchmark criteria, if we can show that yes, this helps us accomplish the long-term mission, vision, and goals, I think that's even as good a selling point and has a great impact on potential decision makers. One of the ways to think about strategic alignment and identifying your craft brewery strategy is to use a process or framework developed by Professor Donald Hambrick, who's out of Penn State University, their School of Business. Written several years back, a really good article in the Academy of Management Journal. But one of the things he addressed was how to help organizations identify their strategy and what makes a strategy. Instead of just saying we're the world's best producer or something like that, providing a little more meat to the strategy discussion and what we're really doing in this organization to show we have a complete strategy, but also to provide a foundation for developing our tactical plans and such. He broke he called it the strategy diamond into 5 components, and let me just go through quickly each one. He said one component of strategy is he called it the staging. They looked at the staging as really your growth, but more importantly, how fast you want it to grow and what the sequence of growth will be. So, for instance, assume I have a brewery, my first craft brewery here in Madison, Wisconsin. Well, and assume that location is starting to mature, not grow as much. You're basically at capacity in brewing or possibly your restaurant pub. Well, how much more do we want to grow and how fast do we want to grow? Do we want to add more locations in Madison? Do we want to expand our product line? Do we want to add services like catering and things like that? But more importantly, how do we want to do it? Do we want to do it kind of all at once Or do we want to do it sequentially? Like, let's do this initiative this year, do it another one the year after, or several years down the road. Just questions that we need to ask and to articulate the answers to when talking about strategy. And again, when you're doing your business case, if your potential investment decision or managerial decision, strategic decision helps answer this question and is in alignment with staging, then that can only help your cause. Another component, the middle part of the business strategy diamond, and kind of I think probably the foundation for all parts of strategy in a business, is what we call the economic logic. In other words, Hambrick tried to ask the question of an organization, how will returns be obtained? Returns meaning being return on investment or profitability based on the money it's going to take. And literally he said, organizations typically choose one of these four alternatives. Either we're going to be the lowest cost provider by scale advantages, by being big, being able to spread our fixed costs around, or we're going to be able to lower our costs because we'll have multiple products and services that we can spread those costs around to add additional products and services to new markets that don't take that much more incremental investment. On the other hand, we might have to choose, we can't be low cost, so we're going to have to charge premium prices. We can either do it through service or having some proprietary product or service technology like intellectual property or something like that. The main goal here is that what Hambrick tried to suggest, and research has suggested, that most businesses, or at least business units, have to choose one of these four. And if they try to do, within the same organization, try to do too many, or have too many ways of trying to earn their returns, or have different multiple economic logic things, they tend to get in trouble. So staging and economic logic, hopefully those things are all in alignment with one another. The third component is differentiators. I think most business people, owners, are pretty well aware of this. Do we do it by our brand or our image? Do we customize our product or service? Are we going to do it through pricing? Maybe we want to be a premium price provider, and that will differentiate her from our low-cost competitors. Do we want to have the best product, the highest quality, or is it going to be in our, in the case of craft brewery, maybe it's going to be in our bottling or something like that. Or we want to be the innovator. In other words, constantly getting new product, new beers to market, new wines to market, whatever. So those are things we want to address as part of our strategy. The fourth component is vehicles. In other words, how will we get there? Everything going to be internal, in-house? Maybe we'll want to team up with other breweries or other partners. Maybe we can license some of our product, come up with the idea, but then license it to other people. Or maybe we could think about growth through franchising. Maybe our growth is going to come from just being heavily innovative and doing lots of experimentation. Or maybe we're going to seek out to buy other craft brewers, other craft beverage organizations in order to grow. So that's the fourth part of your business strategy. And then finally, the arenas is where we want to compete. What products, channels of distribution? Do we want to do it on the internet? Do we want to do it locally through a restaurant? What market segments? Do we go after millennials? Do we go after baby boomers? Do we go after people who live in the city? Geographic areas, core technologies. Maybe we just want to focus on nitro brewing or something like that. And then also value creation strategies. What's going to be our value proposition, and how much can we focus on developing certain kinds of services to meet in the type of services that will enhance our revenue producing or profit producing activities. So the key thing is to think about your business in the form of a framework like this to be able to answer these questions. And then as you develop a forecast, a capital budgeting decision, how is that decision not only producing potentially financial value, like a net present value, but how does it help us address our overall company business strategy, mission, and vision. We talked about qualitative factors. I think we discussed a few of those. Increases customer service. Maybe we have sustainability goals. We want to be good community partners. We can't really, again, estimate. We know what the cost might be to do something, but we don't know what the benefits will be, at least from a financial standpoint. So there's a variety of things we can do to incorporate that. And then finally, we get to the quantitative factors, and we've discussed several of these. One we'll do in another podcast, break even, but we've already talked about payback, net present value, internal rate of return. And then profitability index is something somewhat related to net present value. But through the combination of identifying your strategy, your company's mission, the vision for your craft brewery, identifying your strategy in greater detail using something like the business diamond, and then as you have to do analysis for big investment managerial decisions, what are the quantitative factors, the qualitative factors, and how does that also tie in? Is it consistent with strategy, mission, and vision?